Hi, this is Asa, and welcome to my audio experience. Remember, you can change. You can. All you have to do is have the radical changes that you need for the radical results that you're looking for. Our health can change, but you have to be willing to change. And really, we're in a place right now in America where I think, even though almost half the American population is overweight or obese, even though we've made poor choices for a long period of time, the great news is that we can change. The great news is that if we're willing to make the change, we have more education now than ever. We've learned more about health than we've ever known. We've learned more about prevention and lifestyle. It's kind of like there's nothing new under the sun, but there is a lot now as far as medical science goes to how the body functions. And we've learned so much in the old days that we're bringing back to the new days and applying it. Things simple as getting our vitamin D levels up and how much that can radically transform our health and keep us out of things such as disease and certain disease process, as long as we're willing to change. But the key is, are you willing to change? Are you willing to go from where you are to where you need to be? See, that's the key. The key is wanting to know that you can live better, wanting to know that you can do better, wanting to know that your life can change. And we're going to talk about that. I want to talk so much about what we can do to radically transform our health on this show. And our food for the day, we're going to talk about that. It's coming up in just a moment. Remember, food is our best medicine. But there's a Wisconsin judge that declares individuals have no fundamental right to own cows and drink raw milk. In Wisconsin? Really? This is after being petitioned for clarification about his decision in a recent legal case involving individuals' freedom to consume raw milk and own shares of dairy cows. Judge Patrick Fielder vehemently declared that individuals do not have fundamental right to consume the foods of their choice, and essentially reiterated the state's position that raw milk is simply off limits. Now, let me just say for a second, because I'm a big fan of raw milk products. They're extremely important, I think, for our overall health, and one of the reasons the pasteurized dairy, even the organic pasteurized dairy, is not the best for us. The molecules change when you go through the pasteurization process. You get so much out of the raw cow and the raw milk. Raw goat's milk is just unbelievable as far as your health. And goat's milk is the closest molecular structure we have to human mother's milk. And so I just think I think it's absurd that we're not able to, as consumers, to be able to have the choice, really, when it comes to raw milk. But the Farm to Consumer Legal Defense Fund, on behalf of Zinnecker Family Farm in Wisconsin and several other farms, filed a lawsuit against the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection back in February, asking it to clarify its interpretation of the law in regards to raw milk. You can check this out online. But Wisconsin is among the most restrictive U.S. states as far as raw milk is concerned. Raw milk sales to consumers are prohibited, but private cow share agreements in which the individuals purchase shares of their own cows are exempted. However, due to the onslaught of raids in recent years against raw dairies, private raw milk buying clubs, and even raw milk cow share programs, the plaintiffs simply wanted to clarify Wisconsin's stance concerning these alternate forms of accessing raw milk. So you can do that. Just so you know, if you want raw milk, it is, technically against the law to sell it in the states, but you can go in, and a lot of farms, you can go in and, kind of buy into a cow, and then you can get your gallon or so a week of raw milk from the cow that you partially own. And so it's just amazing the life that they had, and to watch that type of living on a farm and just having the good produce and the fruits and vegetables and just the grass-fed beef. I grew up like that. And just the health that you get from that versus what we have today in the regular population is just unbelievable. So I hope more people will look into the raw milk and, really support the people locally around you, the farmers. No matter where you live, if you live in the city, it may be a little bit more difficult. But even in the suburbs, if you drive a little bit farther out, just look, because the farmers are around more than you would think. And, supporting them is always a great way to go. But what it'll do for your family, the health benefits are amazing. 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. You can call me right now, be a part of the show, or whatever questions you might have. We're here to help. Let's go now to Jeff. Jeff, welcome to the show, my friend. How can I help?
I've got an itch on my left arm. It's right between my elbow and the bend of my arm.
Okay.
It's been on there for about a year, a little over a year, and it just comes and goes. It'll last maybe a week, 2 weeks at a time, and then it'll stop, and it may stop for a month, but then it comes right back. There's no blemishes on my skin. I've used all kind of over-the-counter lotions, anti-itch creams, and nothing seems to help it whenever it starts to itch. I try not to scratch it, but it's just, even in my sleep, I scratch it till it's bleeding. And that's the only marks that'll be left on there, is just where I've scratched it.
Right.
I don't know what to do about it. It just drives me crazy when I'm awake, and evidently when I'm asleep also.
So it'll last for how long? When it comes on, it'll just come out of nowhere. It'll start itching.
Right.
And then it'll just go away.
It'll just go away.
You've been to the doctor, so you went to the dermatologist, I assume. And what did they tell you?
No, I have not been to the doctor.
Okay.
I've just used over-the-counter.
That's it.
Pharmacists at the drug stores, they've told me to use different things, but I have not been to the
How
doctor.
often will it happen? Is it weekly? Is it monthly? How often will it come and go?
It may happen all week long, and then it may stop for 2 or 3 weeks, and then it'll start all over. And sometimes it'll last a week, sometimes 2 or 3 weeks.
How's your stress level in your life?
I don't think I've got any stress.
Except this itch on your arm.
Sir?
Except the itch on your arm. That's about the only stress, right?
That's about it. I'm 49 years old. I'm perfectly healthy any other way that I know of.
Well, a lot of times when you have, let me just tell you this, when you have weird stuff go on with the skin, here's a little key to remember. All skin conditions, for the most part, are inside out, not outside in. That's why when you put the creams and hydrocortisone creams and all that, they don't really work that well. They do temporarily, but they don't get to the root cause. So a lot of times when you have weird itch on the skin, usually you have omega-3 fatty acid deficiency. We don't get enough omega-3 fats, and what that comes from is fish oil, not in the gel caps, but the oil itself. A tablespoon a day for most adults is what's generally recommended. So that might be something you want to look into. That'll help kind of cut down inflammation in the gut, and also cutting out wheat products and grains for a period of about a month or so. That's bread, pasta, cereal, crackers, all the flour stuff that many of us eat. That can play a big, big role in skin conditions, whether it's itching or burning or whatever it might be. Believe it or not, plays a big role. And again, that's cutting down inflammation in the gut. And I would go see your doctor, though. I would definitely have them run some tests and take a look at it. That's a smart thing to do always. We'll be right back. Hi, it's Asa. I'm giving you a copy of my best-selling book for free to help you in your health journey today. I'll pay for the book. All you do is just cover the small shipping and handling costs. Go to AsaRx.com and get your free book today.
To find out more, connect with On Call Radio online at InShapeNetwork.com.
Your health is your greatest wealth. I hope you know that. And regardless of what you're struggling with, there's always hope. There's always hope to get your health back. Whether it's diabetes or heart disease, arthritis, depression, anxiety, that your body can change. You can change. And our quote for the day comes from Benjamin Franklin. It says, energy and persistence conquer all things. And that is true. Energy and persistence conquer all things. Bob in Miami, Florida, he writes, my mom is 51 years young, and she was just diagnosed with hypoglycemia. How is this different from diabetes? Well, hypoglycemia is low blood sugar, and it's kind of a precursor before someone could potentially be dealing with diabetes. It's just where the body doesn't handle the blood sugar very well, over-secretes insulin, it drops the blood sugar, causes you to be very tired and weak for a period of time, and it's kind of a yo-yo effect that can happen, but a lot of times it's kind of a setup or a pre-setup for diabetes. So, I mean, what do? managing the diet is a key. Any type of blood sugar related issue, always go to the diet. Always. You always jump in and make changes. Radical changes equal radical results. Now, you can make small changes. You can make those baby step changes. But really getting in and making those changes every single day to your diet, that's a key, especially with hypoglycemia. And chromium picolinate, very good. A lot of research on that. Vanadium or vanadyl sulfate, both of those, very good research on those. And alpha lipoic acid, ALA. They all have very good effects on stabilizing blood sugar. But I'll tell you, from a dietary perspective, making sure that you get plenty of good, healthy fats in your diet on a regular basis, and those are the good ones, omega-3, 6s, and 9s, all of those are very beneficial. So it's about making the right choices. And once you start doing that, everything changes. Even when you're dealing with something as simple with your mom, Bob, like hypoglycemia. Healthy fats are one of the best keys for regulating blood sugar. Make sure you eat a protein with it as well. That's just basic physiology, and that's kind of diet 101, as we call it. 888-283-7272. Lines are open. Let's go to Tricia. Hi, Tricia.
Hi.
How can I help, darling?
I was calling regarding my 5-year-old daughter. She has extremely red cheeks and will occasionally get white bumps on them. And then on her arms, she has white bumps from her shoulders down to her wrist. She's had it for about a year and a half, and I don't know what it is or what to do for it.
Now, what have the pediatrician said? You've been there?
Yeah, the pediatrician just said it was just dry skin and to put this heavy cream on it, which did absolutely nothing for it.
And so the little white bumps, do they spread or do they stay in one spot?
On her arm, it seems like they go they're kind of just all over. On her cheeks, it kind of just stays in one spot. Her cheeks will get really red, and then she'll get little clumps of white bumps, kind of closer to the eye area.
And do they go away?
Yeah, the ones on her cheeks when it looks like it's inflamed, red, the white bumps are worse, and then when it goes down and the inflammation is down, the white bumps will almost be gone. Sometimes gone completely.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big issues with skin conditions, I talk about this often, and the skin conditions always come from the inside out, and that's why the creams typically don't work. So one of the big issues when you're looking at whether it's a child or an adult, and you're looking at the skin, coming off gluten is always a good kind of thing to do. And a lot of the research out there, gluten plays a big role in skin conditions. So it's probably a lot of what she eats, bread, pasta, cereal, crackers, all the flour-based foods. And so, literally coming off of those can play a big role. But your pediatrician, should kind of play a role in this too. And I know you've already been. They gave you cream. But I would talk about foods, food allergies. Maybe get tested for that. There's some blood testing that could be done for food allergies, which could be a potential issue. And omega-3 fatty acid deficiencies, which a lot of kids have. And probiotics. Probiotics put the good bacteria back in her digestive tract. And that's something that most kids and even adults should be using on a daily basis for optimal health. So I think that's something you might want to look into if you haven't already. And the probiotics are very simple. A lot of pediatricians are big fans of them now and, recommend them often. So look into that as far as their skin condition. Because remember, when you get the gut healthy, you get the skin healthy. And the skin's the largest organ, but what goes on in the digestive tract will show itself on the skin. And that's one of the big issues here in the middle of it, okay? Keep me posted on how that goes. 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. Lines are open. You want to talk about your health and your life, you can give me a call right now. Now, you talk about stroke victims, and, believe it or not, we're seeing stroke, I think, more than ever. Well, they're saying singing may help some of the stroke victims regain their speech. A lot of times with stroke, speech is impaired at some level, but they're saying singing can now help stroke patients which suffer from non-fluent aphasia, which is a severe difficulty in speech, relearn how to speak, according to a new study. The researchers in Germany are pointing out, however, that's rhythm and formulaic phrases associated with singing, not the melodies, that makes the difference. The lyrics and the phrases of the patients were most familiar and had the biggest impact on their articulation, which I think is really interesting. And even when they were spoken and not sung, the investigators found and they concluded that the findings could lead to the development of new therapies for speech disorders. Now, speaking difficulties are common among people who suffer strokes that damage speech areas in the brain's left hemisphere, but the right side of the brain, which supports the important functions of singing, often remains intact in these patients. Now, previous research suggests that singing would stimulate areas in the right hemisphere that would take on speech functions of the damaged areas. So interesting how something so simple as singing can regenerate and rehab the brain and rehab certain areas of the brain where speech is involved. So great research out there, and more is coming along the way. 888-283-7272. 80% of the health challenges we face today are diet and lifestyle related. That means that somehow, some way, we've lifestyled our way into getting sick. But the good news is, if we can lifestyle our way into getting sick, we can lifestyle our way out and get well, stay well, and live well. That's what the show's about. It's about empowering you to make better choices. Did you know that you can listen to the AsaRx audio experience on Spotify and Pandora? For all the ways to watch and listen, check out our show page at asarx.com/experience.
To find out more, visit the show online, InShapeNetwork.com.
You can also go online, shoot me an email. Glad to make it part of the show. And wherever you're listening to our show, we have our preferred wellness providers, a new program where I'm training doctors that believe and partnering with doctors that believe the way that I do. And we're kind of locking arms in these different areas. And, of course, so if you need to find someone in your area, you really got some tough health challenge, no one's been able to take care of it, you really haven't been to a doctor in a long time, and you want to go to someone, these are doctors that I trust that know and understand these principles that I talk about on the show, and they implement that in practice. They're called our preferred wellness providers, and you can find them locally. You can call the 800 number here on the show, and we have an entire staff dedicated to getting you the right doctor and the team that you need to take care of you in your area. So that's our preferred wellness providers. Call the same number, 888-283-7272, and it'll get you to the right folks that need to take care of you. So let's kick it off right now and go with Fred. Fred, welcome to the show, my friend. How can I help?
Well, first, let me make a little comment after saying good evening. Really appreciate what you do. You use your platform well, speaking for people that are uninsured, disenfranchised, so to say, unemployable. Medical attention is a long way off. And if it weren't for what you do, a lot of times hope would be lost. So,
thanks a lot, man. That means a lot.
With that said, 56-year-old male,
okay,
38-year hard drinker, high-stress occupation,
okay,
40-year smoker, diagnosed in 2003, cirrhosis, Hep C. Due to the structure of some of the things with the insurance companies while off on medical leave, re-enrollment came up. I was not notified. So I've been basically using what social programs there are available, which doesn't go into any in-depth testing, screening, genotyping, anything of that nature. Had to move back home this March with my elderly parents who are disabled. Their resources are very limited. I have signed up for a medical program that's sponsored through the county. However, I'm in a holding pattern until that is approved. Approximately 60 days ago, pain in the abdomen became real severe, had to make a trip to the ER, which I didn't like to do, but didn't know where to go from there. CT scan was done, enlarged and irregular placed lymph nodes in the pancreas area.
Okay.
In the last 60 days, the diets went from good greens, the good foods, in moderate portions, small meals every day, multiple meals, to baby food, store-brand nutrition drinks, and it seems to be getting worse. I've got approximately another 90 days to go before whether I know I'm going to be approved to get any in-depth screening, maybe set up a prognosis for a treatment plan. So what can I do myself now that I'm not doing?
First thing, always, especially when you're dealing with the liver and Hep C, you've got to deal with your eating habits. That's first and foremost, okay? So, I mean, that is the key, really, because the regeneration factor and doing everything you can to make the best choices so your body can function at the best level it can, because already there's damage done to the liver, and so you want to do everything you can to put the good stuff in the body so it's not struggling as hard.
Correct.
All right. So have you made any major changes in your diet or no?
Well, like I said, within the last year, I had gone from my normal diet, which I was able to eat, which probably wasn't real healthy for me, to mainly steamed fresh vegetables, done away with the breads, the wheats.
I got you.
Milk seemed to bother me real bad, pretty much done away with it. And then about 60 days ago, it got to where the food just seemed to flush right through me, any kind of solid food, along with nausea and vomiting. And I'm talking 2 and 3 day bouts after a small meal of solid food. So I started with the baby food, basically. I didn't want to shut my system down, but didn't know what else to do. That was the only thing that would stay with me and give me a little bit of nutrition. And the nutritional drinks, store brand. Right. And that's where I'm at now.
Okay. Well, nutritional drinks for sure. If you're gonna go liquid at all, make sure that you use something like Food Balance, which you can get at lifestyleresearch.org. And the reason is it's hormone free, it's antibiotic free, and the quality of what you're putting in right now is extremely important. So that the vegetables and all, I mean, you sounds like you're making better choices for sure. But is the pain that's been in your abdomen, does it come and go? Tell me a little bit. Is it a 10? Like 10's the worst. On a 10 scale, what would the pain level be? Okay,
I normally walk around with about a 6. I've learned to manage that through breathing, and just relaxation exercise. I've learned to tolerate that. Okay. But usually 1 to 3 times a day, I'll have one heck of a flare up. It gets to a 10. It's a sharp stabbing pain in both my abdomen and my liver, and what concerns me now is the abdominal pain to the left side below the rib cage is really getting worse than the liver is. And I'm, my abdomen's real distended. I have to prop up with a couple of pillows, or I feel like I'm basically drowning, can't breathe.
Right.
So
the doctors at this point, did they guide you nutritionally at all at any level?
There was no offer of any kind of diet. Basically, I mean, I don't blame the doctors because they need to be paid too. So everybody's in a holding pattern, waiting on to see if this social program through the county will pay for anything. So,
but meanwhile,
basically,
here you are.
I have checked with them, and as far as, I don't want to call it superficial, but as far as any type of testing, any kind of treatment plan, basically their funds are so limited right now. I mean, they will test you and say, yes, you do have this. But as far as genotyping, as far as a lymph node biopsy, any PET scan, anything like that, nobody can do it right now. They don't have their funds, and they're trying to spread them out over so many people that they can't go into this specialized treatment, which you probably know I need.
Yeah.
Because their funds are limited. So, And the milk thistle, yes, it was good for me. I stayed on the omega-3s.
Good.
I did the cod liver oil, but,
Right.
as my resources went away, which I thought I had a lot like most people in this day and time, but then when you're without employment for so long a period, you realize then you didn't have a whole lot between you and the wolf. So as that went away and we went down to a food stamp card every month and back home with the parents, you have to make choices on what you're going to spend that on. And, of course, I try to help them, too, because they're limited on their resources. So,
Right. So you do the best you can.
The supplements, yeah, right. They're rather pricey if you want to get the good stuff. So, you have to look at where your money goes. Is it deodorant this month or is it milk this month? So it's, but then, I can sit and listen to you and know that, you're giving people good advice for the right reason, within your litigation happy society and still trying to do what you can do for people. That's why I was saying earlier, when you fall through that crack, you often tend to be isolated.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for somebody like you out there that I can flip on and listen and gain some knowledge, useful knowledge, then yeah, almost all the time hope's lost in. So
Yeah, that means a lot. That's what we're here for. And
oh yeah.
The one thing I don't want you to lose is hope. And the one thing you have to know that with your liver, so much of it can regenerate. And I'm telling you, medical science has changed so much and become so good with viral issues like hepatitis C for the liver and helping the body. That's why I'm just going to believe with you this thing's going to go through and you're going to get the help that you need, and they can get in and they can do the biopsy and they can check. But now, let me just run through some things. I'll just kind of run down a list, a little bit of things that can help, from a couple perspectives. Now, there's a tea out there that's really good for cleansing in the liver. It's called Easy Act Tea. Easy Act Tea is not that expensive. It's fairly easy to get your hands on and very beneficial. Broccoli seed extract is also very good. It's something you might want to look into as well. Now, fasting is important too, but you need to do that with a physician's guidance, no doubt, especially at this point. So when this whole thing goes through, with this plan, that's something I want to talk to your doctor about. Talk about partial day fast, using chicken broth, beef broth as more electrolytes and fluid replacement. That can really help the liver regenerate and stimulate a lot of the phase 1, phase 2 liver detoxification in that process. So a lot of things you can do. Look into some of the Easy Act Tea and some of those things as far as liver support. Glutathione is really good too. SOD is what it's called. Superoxide dismutase, extremely important, very regenerative to the liver, and just good for overall body function. So a couple things to think about. That'll send you off and running to Google and the health food store to go look around and do some research. But I'll just be standing with you, believing that this thing's going to go through, and I want you to keep me posted. Thank you for all the kind words. We'll be right back. Did you know that you can listen to the AsaRx audio experience on Spotify and Pandora? For all the ways to watch and listen, check out our show page at asarx.com/experience.
Connect with On Call Radio and watch On Call TV at InShapeNetwork.com.
Lines are open, 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. Check us out online. You can send me an email. Be glad to make it part of the show. Whatever you need, that's what we're here for. Here to take you from where you are to where you need to be. Now, here's the deal. We're talking about keys to weight loss. This is our weight loss hour that we're now doing here on the show. And you can call in. We got 1 hour. We dedicate it to weight loss, ways to lose those unwanted pounds, because it's one of the biggest epidemics we have in this country right now is not being able to drop the weight. And everyone wants to know why. They're looking for the gimmick. They've got the ab roller. You're on the special diet. You're fasting. You're doing the high fat, low fat, high carb, low carb, no carb. And you're trying to figure out, what in the world can I do to drop these pounds? Well, there's so many factors, but it really comes down to common sense. Let me tell you, no matter what, if you're on a weight loss plan or looking to lose weight, I don't care if it's 50 pounds or 15 pounds, it is critical that you get nutritional blood analysis done. Now, I'm not talking about regular blood work just for disease. That's very important. You want to do that with your doctor. Do it every 6 months with your primary care physician. That's important. I don't think you should even wait a year. I think you should do it every 6 months. And the reason is the blood changes about 4 times a year. It rolls over. Every 90 to 120 days, old cells die off, new cells form. It's vitally important to get your blood work done on a regular basis. But getting it done for like more of a nutritional analysis, checking out all the hormones, checking out everything that wouldn't normally be done, that is important to do as well. Do that twice a year. And it's very important. So nutritional blood analysis, extremely important to know exactly where your body is. And many times it's those last 15 pounds that everybody struggles so hard with. You ever notice that? It's that little bit of extra belly fat, or it's that little bit of extra hanging on the hips and thighs. Well, the deal is if you get down, you figure out exactly what your body chemistry is doing, exactly what's going on with your body chemistry, that is where the key is overall. And figuring out what to do with that is where you're going to go to the next level with your health, and especially with weight loss and dropping those unwanted pounds. So getting down and figuring out what your hormones are doing, if there's any nutritional deficiencies at all. And here's a key. Leptin. Leptin is a fat-burning hormone within the body, and now we know it's one of the secrets to unlocking that fat-burning potential in your body. Simple blood test can verify it. It's expensive. Most doctors can't really code for it unless you've got a major medical condition that your weight, you're so overweight that it really covers for it. So that's something, if you're just doing it for general, you've got 10 pounds to lose, you just want to see where you are, it's more exploratory, it can be a little bit expensive, but it's very, very worth it. And it's something I would encourage you to have done. That and vitamin D, I think, are just 2 keys that need to be done regardless of what you're dealing with, and just kind of see where you are. But leptin is a key. And there's a lot of secrets to really dropping the weight, and it's all common sense. Once you get the keys and you have a good common sense plan, it makes a big difference. It said to banish belly fat, a great article. You want to drop the belly fat, vigorous aerobic exercise such as jogging or brisk walking beats weight or resistance training. That's what a new study shows. So if you're overweight or mildly obese and want to lose the fat, belly fat, visceral fat, or liver fat. Now here's the interesting thing that says that. The visceral fat, the organ fat, can be almost more dangerous than just the regular belly fat. And they're saying that the aerobic training was better than resistance training. This was Chris Slentz, a PhD in exercise physiologist at Duke University. There was a new study done in the American Journal of Physiology, Endocrinology, and Metabolism. The belly fat fix study details, they say this: aerobic training group exercised by walking on a treadmill on an incline. They put equivalent of 12 miles of jogging at 80% of their maximum heart rate each week. And the resistance training group did 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions on weight training machines 3 times a week. The combination group did both workouts. Study lasted for 8 months. Slentz focused on visceral fat. It's located deep within the body around the stomach and fills spaces between internal organs. Think of that like the inside fat, and it's the one that's strongly linked to heart disease, diabetes, and other health problems. It's different from the subcutaneous fat, which is just underneath the skin, kind of more of that belly fat, and that's what expands the waistlines. But they found that the aerobic group did better. Now, here's the deal. It's great that they've done this study. And I wanted to read this to you because still the surge training that we have, which is more of hormonal training, is stronger of a physiological response for burning body fat even than this. So you can go bust your can and walk on the treadmill for 45 minutes. That's fine. You can go out and jog for an hour. But you can actually get more of a result in 20 to 30 minutes of busting your can, even 12 to 15 minutes they've done in some studies. Now, there's some workouts that say in 5 minutes, you can do really, really well. Well, you can get a response, and you can get a decent response to the body. But you need a little bit more than that from the research that I've done. But it doesn't take much. And it's about the intensity. It's about having those surges of higher intensity and then resting for just a moment and then surging again and just really hitting it hard. A lot of research on that. And you increase growth hormone, you increase testosterone. So just think about it. It's about training smart. It's about working out smart. You don't have to spend a lot of time. You know, in our busy schedules, busy life, many people don't have an hour. You don't ever want to spend an hour because it'll increase a lot of the negative hormones like cortisol within the body. You want to keep it between, if you like to work out longer, don't ever go over 45 minutes. I don't care. I mean, as long as you're excited about it, that's great with me. But don't ever go over 45 minutes, because you will lower testosterone, you will lower growth hormone, and you'll increase cortisol. You're going to store more body fat. And if you don't believe me, just try it. Cut back your exercise, but keep your intensity high, and watch what happens to your body composition, and watch how it changes. I think you'll be amazed at that. This is our special hour edition of Dropping Those Unwanted Pounds, our weight loss hour that we're getting ready to focus on. So if you've got questions for next week, you can shoot it to it, email me, and just put weight loss in there somewhere. We'll make you a part of the show. Or if you want us to call you in the show or call in on the show next time, we'll keep you posted. You can look on the website. We'll post that as well. Also at Facebook, join me there, and we'll keep you posted with all that's going on with the show. Puts another hour in the charts. I'd like to thank our producer, Jay Patrick. I'm your health and lifestyle coach. Go tell one person something you learned on this show, and together we can change the health of our friends, our families, and our communities. You're listening to the best in healthy talk radio.
Did you know you could listen to the AsaRx audio experience on Spotify and Pandora? For all the ways to watch and listen, check out our show page at asarx.com/experience.
Hi, it's Asa. I'm giving you a copy of my best-selling book for free to help you in your health journey today. I'll pay for the book. All you do is just cover the small shipping and handling costs. Go to asarx.com and get your free book today.
This episode is over, but check episode notes for links to products and services you've heard about on this episode. Thanks for listening and subscribing. Please share the AsaRx audio experience with others and stay in touch by giving us your comment or review.